All right. Hi, everyone. Hi. I'm so excited. I'm excited every week, but today's exceptional.
Oh, that's true.
Excited. You know, I threw me on a little wig for it, so it's going to be a good one. Yes. I am super, super excited. So, welcome to the book club, the Intentional Book Club, the Artist Way. We've been talking about it. We've been getting our life. We've been pouring into one another. And this week is all about week 4. So thank you guys so much for joining. Let me see, make sure y'all can hear me. Yes, thank you guys so much for joining. This is going to be real nice. And this chapter was intense. Not as intense as the other chapters, but this chapter was more so letting us know why we're not consistent with our morning pages and what's really going on, like the tea behind why we're not on top of our morning pages. And I thought that was pretty powerful. So before we begin, how was everyone's artist day and morning pages this past week? Tell me. I know we always update each other in the group chat, but I want to hear from you guys. How was this week's morning pages? How was this week artist day?
Okay, so I came in late.
Welcome.
Hi. So I came in late, meaning like I seen your post on Twitter and I was like, wait a minute, what is this book? So I had to reach out to you privately, like, this sounds like something I need to be a part of. Like, what? So I came in when y'all started week 4, which I'm gonna go back and read 1 through 3, but I basically read the beginning of the book and then I jumped to week 4, so I knew like what everybody was talking about. But so far, the morning pages have changed my life, like for real, like for real. I could wait feeling away and I write and I'm feeling okay. Come on back, John. Right? Okay, thank you. Because on the low, I'm actually in my bathroom, so I put it back.
Oh, this look nice.
Thank you. But they changed my life. No, dead ass. Like I would get up and I would just start writing, and I would notice I just would feel lighter. Like I just felt better. It didn't matter what the fuck I put on the page. Oops, sorry, I don't know if we cussing in here, but
because gang.
Okay, it didn't matter what I wrote down. Like it just made me feel lighter. And this morning, particularly, I woke up kind of feeling, because I was traveling over the weekend because I do modeling and stuff. So kind of back to reality. I'm back in my house, you know what I'm saying? And I kind of started feeling like away. And so I just started writing. I started like, let me just get to my morning pages. And when I tell you that helped knock whatever the fuck that feeling was on out the way, yeah, it's the truth. I haven't done my artist date yet. I'm doing it this week because okay. So how do y'all do it? Is this still week 4? After this meeting is week 5.
So after this is gonna be week 5.
Oh,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the artist dates can be anything you want it to be. It's just like your time to be joyful, your time to be childlike, your time to be immature and playful.
Okay.
Some people like to do coloring books. Some people I like to like go outside, maybe block, take photos, things like that. But I just make sure that it is intentional. I make sure that I am by myself and I make sure I'm allowed to play with like, it's a completely judgment-free zone. When I first read this book a few years ago, I used to like confuse artist dates with like self-love dates. And they aren't the same, like it's not like an artist date is like taking a bath. It's more like if you are going to take a bath, are you creating something in the bath? Are you inspiring like your creative juices, things like that? It's just something, and it doesn't have to be like painting, or you don't have to sit down and draw something, but it is important for us to just like be playful. Like I like to dance, make up a little routine. You feel me? I like to hit up with that. So I like to do that because that's playful for me and that reminds me of my childhood. So just like getting back to things that made us happy when we were children.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I did kind of do it this weekend then, because like modeling definitely brings out, I don't know, like like when you a little girl, you looking through magazines, you just like, ooh, and like, so yeah, okay, I guess I kind of did that then. Okay, sorry.
No, it's cool. That works. Like I think a vision board works too. Okay, so Olivia said in the group chat, I want to speak on my morning pages. This week, I personally made a breakthrough of something I had been ignoring for years. She really hit the nail on the head on how we avoid our problems by saying we're okay. That was such a powerful page for me when she was like, we always say we're okay, we're okay, or can't complain. Can't complain. I just don't like those two words. Like, we're okay, and can't complain just gives me young mediocre. Like, I'm barely at the surface. Like, I'm just like right there, you know. And we want to excel. We want to have the audacity to do whatever the fuck we want to do. That's what we want to do. Yeah, no, I say I'm okay a lot too. When well, not really. I used to say I'm okay a lot, but just working through this book constantly, which I'm so grateful for this book club. We hold one another accountable. So welcome, Courtney. We hold one another accountable. We just make sure that it's a space for healing, and it's a space for conversation. It's super, super safe. We don't judge each other. In fact, we'll hit the group chat and be like, today is just not a good day. And other people will chime in and be like, take this supplement. You should go running. This is what I did. And it's just like a little community where we all support one another. It's actually really refreshing. So I'm super, super grateful. Yeah, so let's continue to talk about Artist Day, guys. Like, how was the morning pages? Were we consistent? Let's be honest, because this chapter let us know if we weren't. This chapter definitely let us know if we weren't. You can unmute yourselves and definitely let me know. Hi, Mai.
Hey, yeah. So are we sharing our Artist Day, or are we talking about the morning pages? Or are we doing a little bit of both?
Yeah, we can do a little bit of both. We can bounce back between the two.
Okay, all right. Well, so I mean, for my Artist Day, you inspired me, girl, with the whole plant-based and eating cleaner and adding a whole bunch of greens and veggies and fruits and stuff. And I was already feeling like I wanted to take like a little cleanse. And I love cooking, so I made something brand new. Like I picked a brand new recipe that I never made before, and it was basically like a veggie stew.
Oh, so you were playing.
I love like hearty stews, but I always felt like I needed a meat in it. Then I realized that you could make it with like, so I had with like lentil. I felt off like, oh, look at me making some lentil soup. I didn't even know who I was. I was walking around my house like, hey, bye, making this lentil soup. But it turned out really good. But
nice
it was so colorful, and taking the time to just cut all my veggies up, and just I love cooking and making my plate very colorful to begin with. So cooking specifically with veggies is like, it really is giving me a way to like dip back into cooking. I love learning to cook, and now I feel like I'm learning all over again. So it kind of had me, I was jamming, had some oldies playing. It was a vibe up in here, making some nice lentil soup with some veggies up in there. Yeah. Was eating it all weekend, okay?
That's what's up. You look so vibrant, like you're glowing, like something's happening.
Thank you. I feel like that. I think it's honestly, I was eating fruit. I haven't eaten meat in a week. I swear, low key, it might be that. I was literally, that's the first time I went without, like, I purposely just been eating all veggies and fruits all week. I mean, and I love rice and pasta. So, I mean, I don't want to lose weight, but I've been eating purposely mostly fruits and veggies. And I do feel like it made a difference in my body, my skin. I just feel lighter. After I eat my meal, I don't have to go like lay down. Usually I got the itis. Like I'm like, oh, I'm good.
No more
what I need to do. No right. More. I didn't even know that was like a thing. I'm like, damn, now I see why people say I cut out meat and I'm not going back. I'm like low key contemplating that.
Yeah, no, we're not doing the itis. Our food is not making us tired. We eat food.
Right. I didn't even realize the difference. You don't realize the difference till you try it. So I'm glad y'all know this. So yeah, that means I'm gonna stick with it. I mean, it's working.
Yes, that's amazing. That's really awesome. I love that. I think the kitchen is such a great place for you to get joyful and try new things and like try new seasonings and try new fruits and vegetables. Like you just play with it. I love it. And it's so therapeutic, like massaging your vegetables. Like I love to say like cooking is the vitamin L. Like it's the love that we give ourselves. Like stores can't do it.
Yeah,
they can't do it. You feel me?
So when they serve food without love, you could totally tell. You like, they ain't putting no love up in this. You know when you eating a meal with no love. So that's so true. I love that. I love that this is like puts something like that even in my radar. So I appreciate this. This whole community is amazing, and you are awesome. Trust you. All your tips, girl. I be writing, clicking all the links, liking all your shit, saving all that stuff for later. So thank you.
We eating good this year. We eating good.
Yes, I need it. Yes.
Everything with intention. We reading with intention, living with intention, moving with intention, creating with intention. We intention mommies out here, okay? Somebody said eating less meat will have you feeling free. That's a fact. When I stopped eating meat, when I stopped eating meat, I also stopped wearing deodorant. And I noticed a big difference. Like when I was, if I skipped a day or two without deodorant and I was eating meat, I was like, damn, the fuck. But now, like, I don't wear deodorant and I don't eat meat. But I haven't eaten meat in like 3 years, but I don't eat meat. And my natural odor is very refreshing. So
that is very interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
yeah, it's a lot that goes into the body when breaking down meat. But I'm not an advocate for not eating meat. I'm an advocate for eating more veggies. If you guys follow me, you know I'll be talking about that. I'm not gonna be like, don't eat meat. I'm just gonna be like, where's the veggies? So yeah. Okay, so does anybody else want to share their artist day? Oh, what are you guys consistent with the morning pages? Please talk to me about both so we can jump into this chapter. I want to see.
I was not. So this hit me on the head with my morning pages. I'll just be honest with y'all and then I'll get off the stage. Y'all know I'd like to talk.
Same here.
Definitely, it hit me because I was like, I was low-key avoiding them. It was like a couple days where I skipped it. And then when I finally just opened the book to read it, I'm like, damn, she read me.
She
I
knew.
was like, yeah, it was crazy because I had some stuff I needed to get out. And I was like, I'm one of those people that like, I'll deal with it. I can compartmentalize, but sometimes I'll keep pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off and find something else to do. And like they say that something happens and it's like, got to sit my ass down and deal with it. Right. So it's like adventure. So this boy was like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what I needed. I can like feel it. Like she said, like Courtney said, you feel lighter. I low key, as soon as I did it, I felt lighter. And I'm like, you know damn well that's what you needed to do. But it was like, I was low key avoiding it because I didn't want to have to like face it. Like she said,
Right.
like, you know, you really I got to actually deal with what was going on in here. And it brings it out. But it's like, we need that. Because then I can perform better at work. I feel more clear in my conversations. Like just everything overall it just seems a little smoother, right? Yeah, it's like not as hard. Now it's like I'm just, coasting.
Yeah, no, that part, that is so important. And she talked about that in this chapter, just how important the morning pages are. I think she knew when she curated this book. I think she knew about around week 4, people might fall off with the morning pages, and it just was like a great check back in as to why you're not doing the morning pages, as to what's the resistance, as to where is the lack of commitment. Rafi, were you gonna say something? Like, how was you doing on the morning pages?
Yeah, I wanted to say that I don't know if I'm the only one besides Mai that like is struggling with the morning pages because I'm a student right now. So like I wake up and like my first thought is to like get to class and then like I spend the rest of the day studying and then by the time I'm like I would just be working on some school stuff and I'm like, oh, I forgot my morning pages. And then I feel really bad and I want to like I want to do them right away. But then I'm like, wait, it's not the morning. So like, I don't know if like my thoughts are going to be construed by what I've been doing throughout the day. And so like I noticed this past week, like I haven't done my morning pages and like I saw like this shift in my attitude where I kind of felt like I wasn't checking in with myself. I wasn't like making sure that like what these thoughts that were going through my mind were, like what it meant if I was like mentally okay. I mean, like I'll go to therapy, I'll talk to my therapist, but like am I like mentally checking in with myself? And I noticed I wasn't. So that kind of led into like even my productivity like throughout the day with studying and like things like that. But when I had an artist day for I think the second time and I really enjoyed it. So I like really wanted to do yoga. And so I noticed like I was kind of like uneasy and I didn't know what it was from. So I just kind of like dropped down onto my yoga mat and like did like some video off of YouTube and I felt so good after. And like this is something that I always wanted to do. So I felt so good finally being able to do it. It's like, wow, I accomplished something that I really wanted to do.
Right. And then I did it. It's very, very rewarding. I will say that journal and yoga combo is a combo. Like it's a 1-2 flex and it just has you feeling so high and lifted and inspired and just enthusiastic. Like I highly, highly recommend, like if you can do the double whammy and like combine journaling, and then right after you do the journal, just do a free flow. I like some stretching and some yoga. You just literally feel like your emotions went out on the paper, and everything that's still in your body, any stress, any tension, any like emotional disparities, like anything that's in the body, the second you just stretch and release that, you literally do feel like the tension and just ready to kind of like activate your week. Like it's really, really uplifting for me. And I'm also,
I completely agree with that.
yeah.
Like, when I was watching like these videos and doing everything that she was doing, like she would go step by step on every movement, and she would continue to like remind you to have like a mind and body like movement together. And once you put those two together, it's like, oh my God, I didn't know that it would feel this good. I didn't know that your body could do these things and how it like makes you
Mhm.
feel so good. And so I'm really excited to like combine morning pages along with like yoga. It's just that I have no idea how I'm gonna make it a part of my morning routine, especially being in school. And I know you're in school, so I wonder how you do it.
Yeah, so you want to wake up early. It's it's the only thing. It's the only way to go around it. You got to wake up early. I really, really feel like my life, personally, my life was like in shambles when I just woke up and went straight to work. When I just woke up and immediately started classes. When I just woke up and immediately jumped on my phone. Like not having a morning routine, not having like some like set time dedicated to check back in with self will really like fuck with you mentally. Like we need to digest the day of what just happened the day before that, or just like be check in with ourselves. Like, am I okay? Like, how do I really feel about this situation? How can I be more intentional? What are my goals for today? Like all of that matters when it comes down to like how we're gonna show up for ourselves throughout the day. And that's the thing too. You don't show up for yourself in the morning. I notice on days that I don't journal, days that I sleep in late, I don't stay dedicated to my morning routine. I don't even show up at my job. I don't show up at my client sessions. I don't even show up in my relationship as like the best self I can show up as, because I didn't check in with me. Like the smallest little things will aggravate me that usually doesn't really aggravate me if I checked in with self. And it's just like it's like a muscle you gotta flex with yourself. And I do think that it's so important to just like have a morning routine. An intentional morning is an intentional day, which is an intentional week, an intentional life. So it's super, super important.
Co-sign. I totally co-sign that. Having a morning routine in general, I don't know if anybody's parents in here, but whether you're a parent, you're a student, no matter what you're doing, you're a human. You got to fill your cup up in the morning. Not only is it making sure that you're intentional, it's literally making sure that when you step out the door, everything is grabbing at you. Even when you look at your phone, like your energy is being sucked away. So you got to fill your cup up first thing to be tippy top. That way, everything else, it'll just overflow and then you good, right? You're still centered. I noticed that when I didn't have a morning routine, and it even just takes like waking up 20 minutes earlier than you normally
20
would.
minutes. Just
set an alarm
minutes.
and just 20, and even start with 10 minutes first and set the alarm, start with 10. Because if you're not used to it, you just do a few couple minutes, set it with 10. And then once you get used to that, you push it to 20. That's what helped me, go from like, I had to work at 8 in the morning, but I had a kid who's also, I had to do his morning routine, but I needed time for me. I had to still get dressed. I didn't want to count getting dressed as my morning routine.
Right.
So I had to carve out an extra hour before just to be able to spend time on me, which is journaling, writing affirmations, getting on the floor and sitting on the mat and doing some yoga, just to be able to every day have the same routine. And it just keeps you centered, right? It's just for you. No one can take that from you. And that time is all you. So giving yourself that 20 minutes, your future self, at the end of the night, you'll thank yourself for giving yourself that time earlier. And you'll know when you wake up in the morning, you got more of you time to look forward to. So you can go to sleep feeling better, knowing you have that morning routine to look forward to. I started implementing a nighttime routine recently, but morning routine changed my life a couple years ago.
Sure, I absolutely agree. It does change your life. I started off with 10 minutes. I started waking up 30 minutes in advance, and I did 10 minutes of, I try to do it like mind, body, soul. So I'll do like 10 minutes of morning meditation or like 10 minutes of reading. And then I do 10 minutes of like journaling, and then 10 minutes of like movement, like stretching my body, or just like practicing gratitude while I'm stretching my body. Like I'll be stretching my arms, like thank you for my arms, like things like that. And it's just 30 minutes. Now my my morning routine is like an hour, hour and a half. But before it used to be like 10 minutes each because I just felt like I didn't have time. And that's the thing, like a morning routine allows you to be on top of time. It's nothing better than that, than being on top of time and feeling like your time is yours. Like you can't take this from me. This is my time. Like, and it forces you to be present. So I highly recommend. And my
Nice
last
to
thing
set a timer too. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just gonna say this book is by Robin Sharma. It's a really amazing book. He's a great, great author, and it's called The 5 a.m. Club. Own Your Morning, Elevate Your Life. This could be a great. He also is the author of like The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. So it is all about like spirituality and connecting with self and how to be like your most optimal self. So yes. Does anybody else have anything they want to add before we jump into week 4?
My artist date, it was so ugly beautiful that like, I don't know. So I mentioned like a few weeks ago that I had lost my house with my family. So where I live now, it's not ideal, it's not pretty, it's kind of hard to get to, but today I took my little self on a private drive and I drove through my old neighborhood, all the places I used to hang out. I passed by 2 friends' houses, well, that used to live there. Random people live there now. Drove past my old house, my old school. I sat in the parking lot. I just drove around the places that I really thought I missed when I lost my house. And truth is, I didn't cry or anything. I kind of choked up, but what I thought I was missing, I wasn't missing because I was making such beautiful progress where I am now with stretching. I put fruit in my water, these morning pages, just a whole transformation. And then my family used to own a barbecue restaurant. So I was like, okay, let me treat myself to some breakfast. So I went to breakfast in the new restaurant that my old barbecue place used to be in. And when I tell you that I felt like a giant, I walked in and the room felt so small, but I felt so empowered. Like those places, as I was driving through, my new car, my new body, my new spirit, mind, soul, it felt outgrown from those places. And I was like, I do not miss this at all. And if we go like 3 pages, 6 pages, if you count front and back, in the book, she talks about when you do the morning pages, you're wiping away all that smudge. And I was like, I really just did that for myself because I don't know what I was chasing back in Norristown, but I do not miss that shit. And just bless all the future places that I'm going to live in because it was just lethargic and beautiful. And I'm so proud of myself.
I am so proud of you too. That is so exciting. I'm telling you, my heart is smiling. It is smiling. Like I feel so full for you right now. That's what's up. That was really a bar, like too. Like you dropped some gems just now. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes, like all that growth is amazing. Which brings me to week 4, when we started talking about this already a little bit, but we can bring it back. When she talks about using the word okay, she's like, oh, like what do we mean by I feel okay? The morning pages forces us to get specific. Do I feel okay means I feel resigned, accepting, comfortable, detached, numb, tolerant, pleased, or satisfied. What does it really mean? Okay is a blanket word for most of us. It covers all the squirmy feelings and it frequently signals a loss. We officially feel okay, but do we? Now, I love that she mentioned that, like, do we? Like, what is, and it had me really thinking about it. Like, what does okay really mean?
It's kind of like fine when people say I'm fine, I'm okay. I'm always like, how are you really doing?
Yeah.
That to me is not a real.
What's fine though? What is?
Right.
I agree with what Malia just put in the group chat. It's like, it's almost like you just avoid, like sometimes you almost feel like you don't want to put that on somebody else, like how you truly feeling. So you'll just be like, oh, I'm okay. But really deep down, you done cried in your car before you walked in the function or like whatever you're doing, like you really might not be okay, but you almost sometimes feel guilty for like putting that, or sometimes you'll even think like they don't really want to hear how I'm doing. Because sometimes people really don't. Like sometimes people almost ask the question as like they're just asking you like what your name is. Like, oh, how are you doing today? Some people don't really actually want to know. They're just asking it to be polite. You know what I'm saying?
It's like a hello.
You know what I'm saying? So then you feel like, well, they don't really give a fuck. So I'm just gonna tell them I'm cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm cool. But yeah, I agree with kind of what Malia was saying. You kind of almost say it so you don't have to explain yourself sometimes, like, or how you're doing.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes you don't know, right? So it's just easier to
That's
say, I'm fine, I'm okay. Because then you know you don't have to really go, you don't even know, you might not even know how to identify what you're feeling inside. So it's easier to just say I'm fine. That way you know they ain't gonna ask anymore, right? They
right.
gotta leave it at
Like
that.
tell people you're good. Like
Right.
even if you tell people you're good, if like today, like if I went to work today and they were like, how you doing, Teresa? Oh, I had a great day. I like rebirthed myself. People are gonna be like, I really don't fucking care. And it's like, well, damn, I'm really happy, and you just kind of shat on my whole parade. So I feel like whether it's good or bad, people are like, they're jealous.
Yeah. That rebirth, Teresa, sorry to cut you off, but that rebirth, some people don't even know how to like take that in. Like, what earth? Like, huh? And yeah, like you said too, some people are jealous. Like sometimes you'll awaken people's demons without even trying to. Like you working on you, but that pisses them off because they ain't working on them. So they're like, oh, she think she rebirthed. Okay. Like, no, sis, I'm really trying to heal.
Courtney, I can't wait until you read chapter 3.
Oh,
you're gonna feel so excited because 3, she starts off with like anger and people and synchronicity. She on 3. So definitely 3 is gonna have you like, wow, this book is amazing. So I'm excited.
By next week, I'm gonna have everything read in 5.
Okay, awesome. So she also continues to talk about the neglection of the morning pages. She proceeds on the next page to say, I have noticed that many tend to neglect or abandon the pages whenever an unpleasant piece of clarity is about to emerge. So if we are, for an example, very, very angry, but not admitting it, then we will be tempted to feel okay about that. The morning pages will not allow us to get away with the evasion. We tend to avoid them. So this brings me to say this, right? I'm sorry. And then she continues to say at the bottom of that page, on my end, it's page 80, but I know some of us have the PDF version. So it should be 1 or 2 pages right at the beginning of week 4. She proceeds to say, we are tempted always to reverse cause and effect. Like I was too crabby to write them instead of I didn't write them, so I was crabby. So she goes to say, like, it's not us like feeling like, oh, I'm emotional, oh, I'm lazy, oh, I'm procrastinating, oh, I'm sad, I'm not going to do the pages. Maybe because we didn't do the pages, we're feeling this way. And I like the way she just switched over that perspective. And then she continues to say, over any considerable period of time, the morning pages perform spiritual chiropractic. They realign our values. I was like, wow, what did you guys think about that when she said the morning pages realigns our values, which had me thinking it realigns my thoughts. It realigns how I feel. It realigns
what I've been throwing under the rug.
Can I add to that? Like, I think I said this in the group chat earlier, but I had a day where I did not do my morning pages. I did do my morning pages, and I had all of these feelings. And in my morning pages, when I was doing my check-in earlier today, I read it, and I wrote that I was feeling tired. I was feeling a lot of different emotions because I was going through a lot of things, and I just wanted to stay home and take care of myself. But I went to work anyway, and halfway through work, I got a stress migraine that caused me like to start like vomiting and shit, like wild. And I ended up having to go home early anyway. And I didn't even realize that I wrote that in my morning pages. But that was like doing the check-in this morning really helped me realize, like, okay, I am more in tune with my body than I thought I am. And I didn't even peep that I was feeling all of that stuff and it was valid. And I had to like go through this experience at work to like listen to my body a little bit more and to understand like these morning pages really make a difference.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So would you say what you experienced was like a Kriyas or a Cryas? Did you pick the part of the page that
Yes.
she was talking about Cryas?
Yes.
She on the next page she goes, she's like, I don't wanna all right, I'm not gonna say that part, but she said, thanks to the morning pages, we learn what we want and ultimately become willing to make the changes needed to get it, but not without a tantrum and not without a crya. I don't know if it's kriya or crya, but I want to say crya because it sounds like cries. So she said, but not without a crya, a Sanskrit word meaning a spiritual emergency or surrender. I always think of cryas as spiritual seizures. So this part was really, really powerful when she starts talking about spiritual seizures. She was like, perhaps they should be spelled cryas because they are cries of the soul as it is rung through changes. So why I thought that was powerful, like, are you guys experiencing certain cries of the soul, like certain like clarity checks, certain things that's like boop boop boop, this is your boundary, this is what it is, like, or just like starting to really peep how out of alignment certain things and certain people are. Like, is anybody been experiencing that, those like clarity moments where it's like,
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
tell me about them, let's chat if you want.
I don't mind
Okay.
jumping in. My name's Clarissa. Hi, everybody. For me, what I've been realizing recently is that, like, I'm problematic.
Low key, when you start,
I'm problematic. And I realize a lot of times I'm like, wait a minute, you cause a lot of your problems. Like, and I never really saw it that way because I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna fall off. Like I'm not gonna engage in this conversation. But in that way, I'm problematic, right? And so the morning pages have brought up initially, like it was triggering. It brought up a lot of memories that I wasn't ready to face, a lot of things that I was just like, what's happening? What happened? You know, like why don't I do fun things that I loved when I was a kid? And so I have been avoiding them because it's that vulnerability of facing yourself on those pages. And the other day I noticed, I was like, oh, everything's fine, I'm so great, I'm doing wonderful, love you, self. And then I'm like, girl, you were just tight 10 minutes ago, like write about that. Let it out. So that's been my experience with the morning pages. I'm still struggling through them, and I'd love to understand how you guys kind of show up and face the mirror and face yourselves on those pages, because I'm not doing well.
yeah, no, it's really hard. It's really like a mirror pulling up to you, like, this who you are, this who you are. Like, that's the energy I get from it. And sometimes it's enlightening and inspiring, like, oh, this is who I am. And some days it's like, oh, that was ugly. And I think it's okay to be honest about both sides of us, or all the multifaceted sides of us as well. How is anyone else feeling?
I kind of agree with
Okay. No, I'll go after you.
I kind of agree with Clarissa. Like when I like sometimes do my morning pages, I think it talks about it in this chapter too, where like I've been avoidant of like feelings or things that I have to make a decision about. But then once I write it down, I'm like, okay, well, I know what I need to do. Or like, I don't know why I was avoiding this, but like, well, now you know. Now you subconsciously have like written it. Well, your subconscious thoughts are now written on a piece of paper. So now you can't say that you don't know what to do. So now do it.
Sure.
And so I think it like helps me like find that like path. And I know that it said that in this chapter too, where it's like they realign your values and they give you like a course of, it says the pages will point out the need for a course adjustment. And I'm like, well, that's it. That's exactly what you get out of it.
I was also going to say how she says well, I don't know if we're not at that part yet in the chapter, but Clarissa made me think of how she says in the chapter 4 about how people think that it's not working. And they're like, oh, this isn't working. But then really it is, because being aware enough to even say that there's times that you find yourself avoiding it and be able to see on the backside, like, oh, see, I was avoiding it. And now you're catching it and you're realizing, oh, I'm the problem. All of that is the work. It is working for sure. And it might not seem like it is, but every single time we write and we even just think about it, we're still doing the work. You know what I mean? So even if it doesn't seem like we're making leaps and bounds, it's like exactly, the work is ugly sometimes. There you go. That's exactly it. It don't look all pretty all the time. Sometimes it's like you're questioning it and then not realizing you already well in your journey, but that's all about part of the process.
Absolutely. It is not always pretty. And I think when she continues to like talk about it and says like, she was like, the process of identifying a self inevitably involves loss as well as gain. We discover our boundaries, and those boundaries by definition separates us from our fellows. And I couldn't agree more. Like I was just like, wow, like a lot of this stuff in this book has like pushed me into alignment and has shown me what's out of alignment. And then she goes, as we clarify our perceptions, we lose our misconceptions. As we eliminate ambiguity, we lose illusion as well. Then this is the bar that really like took me for a loop, where she says, we arrive at clarity and clarity creates change. That was more like, let's lift up the veil. Like, let's like whatever lens, whatever thing is blocking us, let's lift that up. Now we can see things clearly. And now that we can see things clearly, we can make an objective choice. Like we could just be like, oh, okay, that's a dub. I'm making a change right now because I see it for what it is. I showed up and I see it for what it is. I think these morning pages allows us to be emotionally intelligent. It allows us to be like hold ourselves accountable. Like it allows us to be self-aware. Like, okay, this is how I am. I don't like that. Or okay, this is how I am. I'm cute or whatever. Like it depends. And I think it's so powerful that we see things for what it is.
So on the topic of like alignment and like setting boundaries and everything, what's like the advice for when like a person or a relationship doesn't align with what you want for your life, but also this person like also has an attachment and that they care about you, but you also just know that this like isn't right and you need to like set your boundaries and leave the relationship basically? Because like I feel guilty about cutting off the attachment, but I also know that like it's just not what I need and like what aligns with my life at the moment.
I feel that I had the same issue, and it's with my childhood best friend, and she has a baby, and I feel so guilty like on her birthday and Christmas because I don't ever want her to be like, you never did so and so for my daughter. Yes, I did. You never answered me. So as long as you can say that you put out the effort, that you did try, sometimes you just got to let people party on their own, let people grow on their own, and just take at least 3 to 6 months without them. And if you see progress in them, then you can try to rekindle something without any lingering feelings. But if not, you just got to let it fly. Keep a picture or two on your desktop just in case you want to like remember what you looked like back then. But it's just clear distance and just venting about it in the morning pages because I've been struggling with that too.
Right.
And it's just like every time I don't post a lot of selfies. So like I posted a selfie today and I always feel like she's
you
like
was mad cute.
Thank you.
You was mad cute. Skin was on glow. I'm just saying.
Skincare and the window, I'm telling you, like first thing in the morning after the pages. But like I'll post a picture and then she'll like one up me. And she made a post that said, who's coming to my party on Saturday? Did I get an invite to the party? I've known you since we came out the womb and I didn't get an invite. So it's like, sometimes you just gotta let people party on their own and figure that shit out. And as long as you know you made some sort of effort, you sent that text message, you said happy birthday or whatever, it'll show you once you start doing things that make you smile, you'll see people that don't encourage that smile and you just gotta walk away. I'm sorry, girl. You gotta walk away.
I have a question.
Thanks. Oh, go ahead. Somebody has a question.
Okay, so I have a question because all of you, I think it's Ayo and Teresa are kind of like hitting it. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong.
It's Ayo, but you good.
Ayo, no, correct me. No, please correct me. For that, I think we're all experiencing that. She talks about boundaries. Someone mentioned surrender from the chapter. I think that's on page 82 if you're in the book. But with that, because I feel like that has been happening more and more over the past 2 weeks, really since COVID, but I think since starting this book, I've been putting more things in perspective and creating boundaries. But when you do that, do you explain yourself? Because I feel like a part of me, I'm like, okay, well, Dag, I just cut you off. But I'm like, should I explain why? Like you make me feel a certain way. I've tried. I want to be that good friend, or you know, that good daughter. If any of you have immigrant parents, you know how it already goes. So do you explain yourself? Because I'm having a hard time with that. Like a part of me is like, no, I don't want to explain myself. I'm grown. But at the same time, I'm like, I feel bad. So does anybody have a response to that? Like, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm going to that.
Oh,
That would be up to like, sorry.
I just wanted to throw something in because this is something that I've been working on recently. And that it's not your responsibility to anticipate how people are going to accept your truth. You just need to make sure that you're living it with a capital T and doing right by yourself, because in the end, you can't control how that parent or spouse or friend is going to react to your truth, because as you grow as an individual, they're either going to come up with you or they're going to stay and try and pull you back down to their level. And so if you keep moving through life, speaking your truth and living as your highest version of yourself, then all you're going to do is succeed and grow and outgrow those people and just continue to thrive in your life. And the people who can't be happy for you with that, they'll remove themselves from the situation.
Naturally, organically. Yep. I love that. It's just going to flow.
Mm-hmm. And you'll feel, but I was going to say just real quick, I just want to say, Teresa, you had mentioned about you'll notice the difference. You give yourself like 3 to 6 months without someone, say that they've been in your life for a long time, and whatever's going on with them, when you give yourself distance and you notice the difference in yourself, that you feel lighter, you feel better off without that energy, that's when you know it don't matter how much better they're doing in 6 months. If you're doing better, that's all that matters. Like, so that's what I always say in terms of, because people can be energy suckers, and when you seem like you're an empath and you like to help people and you are a healer, so people are going to be naturally drawn to you, but not always for the good reasons, right? So you got to make sure you protect yourself and only allow the people in your circle that are actually giving you, it's reciprocity. It's not reciprocity. Is that the word? Reciprocity?
Yeah, reciprocity.
There you go. There you go. So
somebody in the group chat said, you have to accept people where they are and continue to grow on your own. I absolutely love that. I think that's so true. People meet you where they're at all of the time. But my thing is, like, to get back to the last question, like, how do you guys create the boundary in a healthy way? Like, do you communicate it? And then after you communicate it, because this has been a reoccurring conversation for like the last 4 days between me and all my friends, like, how after you communicate it, how do you not feel guilty? Like, that's the thing. I'll feel guilty sometimes for like having to create the boundary to distance myself from you, or sometimes I'll feel guilty that I want a better quality circle, like somebody who would just understand when I'm talking. They'll just get it because they're self-aware as well. So how do you guys, like, one, create the boundary? Like, do you say something or do you not? Because lately what I've been doing, I just I let time pass a little bit and then I say something, because the time kind of lets me know if it's worth it, if it's not. Like, it lets me read the room a little bit. And then after you guys set the boundary, if you do or don't talk about it, how do you not feel guilty about it? Because sometimes I'm like, I don't want to come off bougie, or I don't want to come off like this. But it is what it is. I might just be that because I just don't feel connected, So how do you guys do that?
The explanation, for me at least, I kind of just try and wage, like, if they were to even try to understand me, because some people just straight up like don't want to understand you, and like they have this idea in their head, like if you're like doing something that's like different from what I'm doing, then you're against me. And like some people will just not let that go. So if it's like that type of situation, I just save my energy, because like you just waste it, like trying to explain yourself for somebody that just doesn't want to listen. And for the guilt part, like you can't feel guilty for just taking care of yourself. Like if you would do it for a friend and wouldn't feel guilty about it, like you shouldn't feel guilty for doing what's best for you.
That's a
Okay.
fact. That's a bar. Yeah.
I had to Teresa's situation real quick. Because I went through almost something similar where one of my friends over quarantine like reached out to me, and I don't know, she was just like really, really snotty to me. And basically was acting like I've never been there for her. But when I actually thought over our whole entire friendship, I realized there were so many signs, there were so many examples, there were so many situations that she was an on the low hater, but I overlooked it.
Yeah.
Because of how long we had been friends. I kind of just like chopped it up to, oh, that's like her traumas from, family
That's
life.
her personality. Yeah.
Yeah. Or, like, cause, she had like kind of a rough, like family environment. So I kind of just like chopped it to, oh, she just don't know no better. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when you actually think about the friendship in totality, you realize that they kind of always been that way. Like the people that finally like act that way, and kind of what I said earlier, like you also might be aggravating demons that they have that they might not even be acknowledging. So you just doing you and making yourself better, or even distancing yourself from them a little bit, frustrates them, because a lot of people like control too. Like a lot of people like to feel like they have control.
That part.
Yes. So I realized, because I was also contemplating going back and forth on if I should say anything. Because I did say something like, I was texting back and forth, and I told her, I'm like, there is no ill will. But I was talking to some of my other friends, like, should I really like kind of break it down to her? Like, like you're calling me a bad friend, but really there's this incident. But then what someone else said earlier, how some people are already just fixated on not even like seeing you, like not even hearing you. So it's like, would I be wasting my time and my breath even trying to like explain to her the situation? More than likely. But yeah, what I'm saying to you, Teresa, is like, have you kind of reviewed the friendship and kind of just like realized like, oh, she kind of been like this for a minute anyway?
Well, honestly, my last few morning pages have been filled up with her and my mom. And I'm just like, I feel like each page it's been getting a little deeper as to what's been bothering me. And the last pages, I was talking about my friend, and I was just like, well, she did this, but also 2 years ago she did this and made me feel left out. So now I'm like contemplating. I'm not on social, I'm only on 2. So I'm contemplating unfollowing her on Snapchat, because it's like I feel some sort of way when I see her post videos of her with her new friends. And it's like, I don't even get an invite. I don't even get, I'm having a birthday party. I don't even like, I was there for your daughter's birth and for our birth, let alone, and you can't invite me to have cake, but you invite some other bitch to have cake. Like I was like, no, like I can't let her videos make me that hurt. So I'm honestly, I don't know how healthy this is, but I'm just letting it fade out, say happy birthday and be polite. Yep. But because I feel like I'm at the point now where if she brings it up, like, oh, why are you being snotty, this, and that, oh, you bougie, this and that, I might just blow up and be like, well, on February 3rd at 10 o'clock, you did this and that. And so I'm just letting distance.
And we don't want to. Yeah, and we don't want to, we don't want to be petty, because I just believe in karmic energy, and I just feel like when we stoop low, we attract low, and when we stoop high, we attract high. So I do think that that's very, very important, with being intentional with our speech and being intentional with what we follow. Because like one thing I say all the time, like everything is food. Like I tell all my clients, everything is food. This conversation, food, it is feeding you and I. This a podcast, a music, who you follow, the things you are digest, the things you look at, food, all of that, the music we listen to, food. So it's important for you to be very intentional with who you follow, and just muting people. I mute everybody all the time, because I just don't want to show them I'm following them, because I also don't want that energy either. I need to vibrate high. And I notice the higher I vibrate too, like if I follow better quality people, I'm interacting with better quality people, because I'm just like, I'm setting a boundary to like dub anything that doesn't fit with the idea that I want to have for myself. Like if it don't fit, it's not working. But I do want to bring it back to the book where she talks about friends. And she says, as we notice which friends bore us, which situations leave us stifled, we are often rocked by the waves of sorrow. We may want our illusions back. We want to pretend the friendship works. We don't want the trauma searching for another job. And I totally understand that sometimes we just feel like, oh, like this is easier, you know, sometimes like to stay or to just like not look for the other job. Like this is a little bit easier. But then I always think we got to just think like, does this align with how I want to feel? Does this friendship align with how I want to feel? And that alone, that's how I've just been moving all year. That's what I've been thinking about. That's what the pandemic taught me. Like, is this in alignment with how I want to feel? Like, if I eat this food, am I going to feel good or am I going to feel tired? If I have this conversation with this person, are they going to get it or are they not going to get it? Like, if everything, I just try to think like, all right, if I want to feel good and I want to feel lifted and I want to feel high, is this going to get me there? Because if it's not,
and that's exactly how you flip your thought process when it comes to feeling guilty, when you have to make those hard moves, right? Where you're like, oh, I've been at this job forever, I don't want to leave my coworkers, or you love the people you work with, or you know, you've been in a friendship, you knew each other since since grade school, but they're just not serving you anymore. You feel guilty about having to sever those things. But that's how you flip that guilt that you're feeling. It's a reminder to yourself that you have a big heart. You have you're a human with a big heart, and you care enough about yourself that you care about the effect you leaving that relationship or that situation is gonna have on the other person. So the guilt comes from like, oh, I feel like they're gonna be upset or they're gonna be feeling some kind of way. That's because you care so much. Give yourself props for that you care that much, that you're thinking about someone else's feelings, but what matters the most is what you need to do what's best for you, right? So it's being able to say, I know this is gonna make me feel guilty, I'm gonna feel bad because I know they count on me, but I gotta love me the most. And when you love you the most, the guilt will fade away, because the guilt is really just wrapped up in other people's feelings, and who matters more, yours or theirs? You know what I mean?
Right. And it's like, who's feelings?
Yes.
I love that she talks about, did you guys read the part where she was like, it's like a car accident and it's like walking away from a car accident?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do we feel guilty when we walk away from a car accident? No, we like, just survive that. Like, we just survived that. We be out. So that's the thing we got to think about too. Like, damn, this is a crash. This is crazy. I gotta go. Wow.
Can I add something to that real quick?
Yeah, come.
I literally just had this conversation with a friend, with somebody that I live with actually, and like we're deciding not to live together. Well, I decided that we shouldn't live together anymore because we talk about how we have this sacred space, and it's not that sacred anymore because we've been arguing and all that shit, and it's just not the space that we created when we first moved in. And the conversation went a little something like him saying, you know, I don't really feel like you reciprocated certain parts of our friendship to me. And I explained my boundaries to him by saying, I don't feel guilty or shameful for anything that I've done in this friendship because I know that I did my best and I showed up how I know I could every single time. And every time that we had to redirect and have conversations where you needed me to make adjustments to how I was being, I made sure that I did that and I didn't just talk about doing it and not do it. So I don't have anything to be guilty about because I showed up in this friendship 100% every time.
Right, absolutely.
That part right there, yeah.
I like how the one quote that it talks about, to thine own self be true. I feel like that's a quote that I chose last year after I saw a YouTube video about people on their deathbed, and their biggest regret was not being true to themselves. So when you fully live in your truth with a capital T, I forget who said that, you're inviting people to accept you, who you are and how you are. And if they don't, then you know who your tribe is and who your people are. And that's something that I have had to learn myself.
Yeah.
I've had to.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say, I just was looking at getting that tattooed on me literally like 2 weeks ago. I was like, I'm like planning when I'm gonna go, and that was what I was planning to get tattooed. Then I read this chapter and I'm like, bruh, definitely getting it tattooed now. Listen.
Synchronicity.
Right, talk about it.
Crazy.
I was like, The universe is like, Maikisha, yes, honey, go ahead.
Yeah, no, this book is definitely showing us what alignment looks like and what walking in purpose like truly looks like. And I love that you just mentioned knowing yourself and like seeing yourself, because in the pages she talks about, you know, not just saying I'm okay, and also like saying get specific with it, like just get very specific with it. And what I think is important is the line where she goes, when we lose our vagueness of self, you know, when we just are vague with ourselves and our values, we become too available. And I really love that, because I like to think about Beyonce often. I like to think about how when I make certain decisions, I'd be like, would Beyonce do this? Would I do this? I try to associate Beyonce with what my higher self will do, and all of that, because I like to think like my future self, is she so available? Is she vague? Is she like whatever comes, whatever goes? Is she not like, do she lack intention? And I think that those type of questions is very important, that we stay grounded and stay specific to who we want to be and how we want to feel, because it leaves no room for ambiguity. It leaves no room for like tossing shit up in the air, like it's like hot, tossed it, caught it. This is what I want. Like this is what I'm about to do. And I do think that that's just it's important. Like we can't even manifest or like live the life we want to live if we're super vague and we don't really know what's going on, and there's no anchor to authenticity or like real shit. You know what I mean?
That is super duper facts. There's a quote that says that if you spend your life, what the heck did it say? It was something about if you spend your time living, doing a bunch of stuff that you don't want to do, or if you don't know what you want out of life, you'll spend your life doing things you don't want. Basically, so kind of like if you don't have anything, if you're not realistic with what you really like and what really serves you, you're just gonna be doing a bunch of shit that is not serving you at all.
All the time, you just do it all
like just wasting time, just living like working at a job you don't like, surrounded by people you don't even like having conversations with. Like if you find yourself checking out of conversations and you're like, damn, like I don't want them to call me for 2 more weeks. Like that's not your tribe, okay? Like don't waste your time anymore. Don't feel bad when people don't align with you, because like someone said, you're gonna elevate. Either they're gonna come with you or they're not gonna come with you. So in order for you to grow, you're gonna have to drop some dead weight for you to really fly the way you really want to. There's gonna be some people who are gonna want to hold you back though, because they're dead scared to fly the way you're ready to fly. But guess what? That's not, they down there. Let them stay down where they at. Don't feel bad that we're looking down on them though. They have a chance to do the same thing. You got to do what serves you.
You know, and that's
we're all responsible for our own. Like you can't worry about theirs because you got to worry about your own. They have to worry about their own. Like come up.
But you know what? To be honest, is that Alvina?
Yeah.
You know what? To be honest, like I feel like when I was like suffering depression and when I was going through a lot of things, I really did rely on external sources to fulfill certain voids in me. I really did. And I think when you are down and depressed, it's so hard for you to hold yourself accountable, and it's so hard for you to see what shit really is. Like it's hard for you to have clarity. It's hard for you to see what things are. So you put that responsibility on other people to make you happy, to fulfill certain needs and things like that. But I think it requires a sense of emotional intelligence and self-awareness for you to really feel like, boom, like this is my responsibility. My happiness, my morning pages, my time, my artist day is my responsibility. Like it's nobody else's. Like who's gonna come in and change my life? Who's gonna come in and make me feel better? Nobody else. And when we get clear on that, on taking control over our life, like things, become unstoppable. That's how I feel.
That's facts.
Yeah, that's how I feel. So she also begins to talk about how distractions kind of numb us from the truth. When she said that, she was like, the distractions numb us from the truth. It numbs us from growing. And it had me thinking, like, what type of things do we need to start like walking away from? What type of things are we noticing like it's out of alignment? This is numbing. This is boring. This doesn't fit anymore. And did you feel like that during like week 1, or did you feel like that a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I had that for the hey everybody, for the hey. Okay, so 2 points. First, going back to the authenticity, I think for myself it's basically been trying to understand or create this balance between authenticity
duality and infiltration, and recognizing where I'm seeing myself where this is authentically and genuinely me, but recognizing that I could be multiple things at once. Like I can be Janae Aiko meditating and stuff, but I could also be Fabio Foreign and shooting place up, you know, like I can be both at the same time and no one has to stop me. There's nobody else in this world that's limiting me other than me, but also recognizing where that infiltration and that infiltrative spirit is coming in of like, oh, maybe you should do this or do that, when really that's not me at all. And then the second thing, I guess somewhat going back to the morning pages, is the fact that for me personally, this was my experience. For the first time, I finally completed a first full week of morning pages all in the morning. I was so proud of myself.
Ow.
I realized that the issue isn't the pages. It isn't writing the pages for me. It's the discipline. Pages were showing me that it's not the talent, it's not the gift that I may have or that you may have, but it's the discipline and the work of strengthening that gift or talent and making sure that it's what you want it to be. To me, it reflected, it mirrored, it was like the Issa Rae moment where like I'm talking me to me, and it's like, are you really about to do this and just waste everything you have within yourself? Like you literally have all the tools and you're sitting here not acting upon them. And the morning pages just showed me that it's discipline for me. It's surrendering to the work. It's surrendering to the release work. It's the fact that before I even read this chapter, I was throwing out clothes because it just wasn't doing anything for me. I was just letting things go. It's surrendering to discipline and surrendering to letting it go. It's like I had to surrender.
Every time you come on, every time.
I'm sorry, but these pages, they just hit and they just punching me left and right. I'm ducking like Lil Kim. I'm trying to move out the way. And they're letting me. Because they just hitting me harder and harder. Okay. And I'm just realizing that something new is fueling my creativity. Something new is fueling my life. And if I keep acting as if it's not, then I'm not getting that. And that's for me. You know, like where I'm going is new and that's okay.
That's a Twitter post.
Honey.
Yeah. This chapter was definitely talking about the authenticity. It was talking about just who are you? Like what you were creating in the past. Okay, that's cool, but who are you now? Like Rihanna's Music of the Sun isn't anti, you know, like who she was then is not who she is now. And I think I have to surrender to the fact that growth is happening, whether you like it or not. And you're gonna get this growth.
Yeah. Well, she said it's like an in-between time. I felt that too, where she said it's like in between that, like, well, I know I'm evolving, so I know I'm not the Mama that I was before, but I still don't know who the new Mama is going to completely be yet. Like I'm still becoming her. So it's like, I can see her, but I don't know exactly how, but I'm trying to show up as her, but I'm still learning her, if that makes sense. So it's like that weird, like, okay, the stuff that used to serve me totally does not serve me anymore. I'm learning all the new stuff now that serves me, but it's like learning myself all over. So I literally was in the closet too. It's crazy that when I read that, I was like, damn, I was just doing the same thing where I'm like, this stuff, I'm not going to wear the same, like shirts that I've had forever just because. I'm like, this doesn't even serve what I want to look like, you know? Mm-hmm. But that shit hit me crazy too. Like, yeah, I was like, wow, that's definitely how I feel.
Yeah, Maran said in the chat, you going to get this growth. That needs to be a shirt.
Yes.
You going to get this growth. Like, what's good? You going to get this growth because I'm about to grow on you. What up? Like, I love that so much. I love that you said it's fueling my life because it also brings me to the sentence where she was like, when you work on your art, you work on your life. Mm-hmm. I was like, guys, when you work on your art, you work on your life. Have you guys been feeling like that? Like when you do the artist date or when you do the pages or when you just check in with self, do you feel like, all right, when I work on what I'm passionate about, I'm working on my life? Like,
mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Do y'all ever notice an anxiety that you'll build up when you're not like working on the stuff that you want to work on, or you know what I'm saying? And then once you sit down and do it, you're like, oh, this is not as bad.
I'm not taking days to do this. Like,
right. Like I should did this shit. Like I noticed that I'll have like creative projects that I need to be doing, and like I won't do them, but I'll just like have all this built up anxiety. And then when I finally sit down and start doing the shit, I'm like, why didn't you do this sooner? Like, what what are you doing?
I started to set a timer, like setting a timer, like calendar, like coming up with a date. Like, cause that, I mean, goal setting, of course, they'll tell you that, but even for our creators, if you have something you do want to finish, if you put an actual time frame to it, or for me, I carve out, you know, in the morning as part of my morning routine is for me to work on my book that I'm writing. So I'm like, I'll literally schedule that and my timer goes off for me to transition to my next activity. And I'll spend a good 20 minutes to 30 minutes working on just that. And that way it's keeping me disciplined and learning the routine of just working on it a little by little every day versus letting days go by and then having the anxiety, which I'm not perfect. Some days I turn the damn alarm off and don't go about my business, but at least that helped me a little bit, stick with it a little bit more to avoid that feeling. Cause I hate feeling anxious and like mad at myself for not doing something I knew I could have just done, you know? So I'm like, what can I put in place? Like, oh, you got a phone, girl, that's always with you. Set that damn alarm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, and that brings it back to like on page 87. Is my internet acting up? No? Okay, cool.
No.
Oh, I think it's mine. Internet then. Okay, yeah, so it does bring me back to like 87 where she talks about page 87 when she talks about distractions, numbers from the truth and from growing and things like that. So it's just like, let's talk about ways that we can like completely get rid of certain distractions and like what type of self-discipline it requires from us. Like, what does self-discipline look like in practical terms? Like, I don't want to hear that we need to be more self-disciplined. We need to eat broccoli. We need to eat kale. We need to drink water. We know that, but like, what does it look like actively? What does it actively look like to practice a sense of discipline? Like, does it look like waking up early? Does it look like moving your body? Like, what does it look like? Does writing things down help you? Like, what does active discipline kind of look like?
Me.
No, go ahead.
I said for me, it's definitely writing things down. Like, I'm a checklist person, so I need to see everything that has to be done. What have I done? And if I do something that needed to be done but wasn't on my checklist, I write it down and then check it off just so I can see a list of my productivity, because then it's real. In my head, if I did one task and then at the end of the day, I feel like I've been accomplished, and I look back at my list and it's just one thing that I checked off, I'm like, no, you actually weren't very productive today. So for me, I need to see it, because if not, it's just not going to get done. Yeah. But it took a lot of trial and error and realizing how much accountability that I needed, and just being honest with myself that I need accountability.
Mm-hmm. That part too. Also recognizing that there is a time to grind just as much as there is a time to rest. Sometimes I'll be trying to push myself to like produce, and I'm like, sis, this is a rest period for you. Like, clearly you're not inspired, nothing, you know, like what I'm saying, like, this is a rest period. This is a period for you to pour in yourself to gain your inspiration, because you can't pull inspiration when you don't have it. Like, you can't.
Right. But so, what if you're resting for too long? You know, like when does like self-discipline come through and knock on the door and be like, sis, you've Netflix done hit you twice and asked you if you're still watching. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So how do we practice self-discipline then when we just don't want to?
Yeah. For that, like she was saying earlier. But no, I feel that. Ooh, that's hit me a few times. Yep.
I think it goes back to what Maya said earlier about her feeling anxious when she doesn't get something done. So it's like in the back of your mind, I know there's more that I need to be doing. And if I don't get it done, it's going to be a worry for me. Mm-hmm. So if I'm feeling any type of worry in me, then I know I just haven't been doing enough. And I know that, all right, I need to get out of this rut.
Mm-hmm. It definitely goes back to being intentional, right? Like with for me, that's my thing is like, you know, full disclosure, I like to smoke. I'm not a drinker, I smoke, but it's like I realized I've been smoking, like recently it hit me that I've been smoking for like 7 years straight. And I was like, damn, like every day. And I was like, damn it. And I like you were saying, think about your future stuff. I'm like, do I want to be like a 40-year-old and be like, yeah, you know, I've been getting high for the last 15 years. Like, is that really what I want to like introduce myself? But then I'm like, well, you know, there's nothing wrong with the plant. There's reasons. There's, you know, many benefits. But I realized.
I was about to say, wait a minute.
Talking about smoking weed. Sorry.
What are you talking about? I want to say what you talking about, because I feel like we could be 40, we could be 50, we could be 60 with it. So what you
well, okay, so that's why I wanted to bring it up, because what for me, right, I had to realize that, okay, I had to like really like check myself on it, because it's a habit of mine. But I also had an incident happen in 2010, so I had back issues. So like for me, I don't like pills, so it's a way for me to be able to manage my pain, and then it's also, you know, for my emotional stability, for my appetite. But then it would be for, I used to have an excuse for every reason to turn around and roll up. Like, oh, I'm stressed, I'm gonna roll up. I ain't like that conversation, I'm gonna go roll up. My kid is driving me nuts, I'm gonna go roll up. Like I always had, and then I had to realize, like, okay, now I'm in a place where I do yoga every day, I journal every day, I speak affirmations to myself. I'm not as stressed. I'm in a much better place environmental wise, financially wise. I'm not in struggle mode anymore. So like the reasons that used to fuel my smoking before are not necessarily the same reasons now. So I had to check myself, like, well, why am I just waking up and right away I'm rolling up? Like, even if I am journaling, right, I'm still smoking right after, right? And I'm like, is this serving me to just wake up and be high? Like, am I really loving life, or am I just loving being high during, you know? I had to check myself, like, let me be intentional about it. So then I literally wrote down like the reasons I used to smoke, the reasons I smoke now. And I wrote a list and literally like checked myself on what was I getting, what am I getting out of it now, right? And how is it serving me now? And I still definitely got reasons why it serves me now, but it helped me. And this book as well helped me realize, like, I have other ways to serve me in a way that, like, what I was leaning on it for, like, now I could feel even a better feeling when I go cook a new meal. Like, I feel better doing that, and feel more of a natural high when I'm, you know, painting some random shit. I don't know how to paint, but I like to paint randomly. Like, doing stuff like that makes me feel like I don't even need to roll up, you know? So I realized, like, okay, I know that right now I'm about to do a crazy yoga session, so I'm a smoker, and then my pain is gone and I'm gonna get into it. So that'll put me in the zone. That's intentional with it. I'm about to go to sleep, knock out. That's me being intentional with it, right? So now it's helped me like that. So yeah, if I could be, I'll be that 45-year-old woman, but it's not like I'm all day long. It's like, that's what I do because of this, and this. It serves me. You know what I mean? Versus being high to be high. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very intentional. And it goes back to when you work on your art, you work on your life.
It's super facts. It's so crazy how real this shit is.
Well, like, am I smoking weed, or is the weed smoking me? Like that's what that, you know what I mean?
Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes the weed smoking you, you know, and
it definitely distracts me, or I know I want to do something. I know I want to work on my book, and then I get high and fall asleep, and I wake up and I think, damn, Keisha, you know, you could have worked on your book first, then you could roll up. Like, this shit, who's telling you to roll up first? Like, this shit ain't telling you to do it. It's, you know, it's me. So I had to remember, I'm in control, and we're in control of all of our habits and distractions. If you know your phone distracts you, put that shit on do not disturb, turn it off after 8:00 at night, so you could just get in your zone, you know, like, be intentional with what is going to serve you. I had to do that for myself, like shut my phone down after a certain time. And I'm like, in my mind, put it as a no tech zone. Sundays, I'm not on my phone at all. I try to be intentional with my time just to kind of reconnect and just live in my own bubble. Like, we used to live without being on our phones all the time. Like, I was a teenager when I got my cell phone.
Yeah,
so there was life before
exactly.
Cell phones.
You know? Exactly. I had the baby fat Nextel. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I had the baby blue one. I had the baby blue Nextel. And
yeah, you were it, yo. You were it. Okay.
No, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to brag. My mother did good. Yeah. So,
I had to save up money and buy my own. My mom was not good.
I definitely remember that. Like, don't text and call until after 7. So
call me after 9.
I was on a budget. But yeah. So I do. So two last things I really want to bring up. I love how she starts talking about like less reading and more playing. I love that, and it had me really thinking like it. I don't know about, I'm sure you guys feel the same way, but like during the pandemic, I really do feel like it forced us to kind of think about like, who are we when we have time? Who are we when we don't got shit to do? Like, who are you? Who are you? Are you somebody that be on Netflix all day? Are you somebody that leave the crib dirty? Are you somebody that get up and take showers if you don't really got nowhere to go? Are you somebody like who are you? And who do you become? Like, how are you spending your free time? How are you being intentional with free time? And I really wanted to end kind of talking about that, and then also leading into some of the tasks and the things that she mentions at the end of this chapter. But I do want to ask you guys, like, when you realize that you do have free time, like, who are you? Who do you become? Are you somebody that gets on the phone? Are you somebody who just distracts yourself? Are you somebody who rests? Does every day look different? Like, who do you become?
I noticed
think
that
that
I'm someone who distracts myself a lot. I noticed at the beginning of the summer and by the end of the summer, I just kept asking myself, like, why are you not happy? Like, what is it that is making you not really happy? Like on paper, if I were to draw out my life, it's like I have all these things that should make me happy. And then I realized that I was going through a transition and I didn't know who I was anymore, which felt stupid, almost like you're coming of age, but again, like I'm about to be 30. So I just felt like I needed to just sit down and be with myself and figure out who am I now, because things are changing. And it's like the part in the book where she says you look up and you're like, I don't even know who I am anymore.
Yeah.
And then you realize, okay, this is kind of like an identity crisis that I wasn't prepared for, because I thought this came in like later in life, like your midlife crisis. But yeah, I just noticed that I was someone who was just distracting myself, not being intentional at all, just letting days pass.
Yeah. Can I ask you, what are your artist dates like? Are you taking them?
I started roller skating, but I'm in New England, so there's just a bunch of snow, but thankfully we have hardwood floors. So I've just been roller skating back and forth from my living room through my dining room to my kitchen. So just going back and forth trying to keep myself.
You're about to be a TikTok star.
Maybe, I don't know.
I feel like everyone on TikTok is roller skating. I could be wrong. I'm not on TikTok. Yeah, we're about to be 30. No shade. No shade to people who's on TikTok still, but it's so hard for me to get into one more social media app. I'm gonna lose it. But yeah. What about you guys? Like everyone else, like what are we doing on our free time? Like how are we being joyful, playful, creative?
I've been reading a lot lately because for me too, I noticed that I was just like distracting myself, just trying to like pass the time. And I would like just watch TV and I started to get like sick of it. I would just like pause it and I'm like, I want to do something else.
Yes.
But I don't know what to do. So I started reading. I love these like guided meditations on YouTube. I just like zone out for like 40 minutes. And it's so easy to some of them do.
That's
like
so
in the beginning.
disrespectful.
I know one
That's
hit me
actually
in the
real
middle
rude.
of the meditation yesterday. I was like I'm just gonna mess up my flow and then I have to wait 5 seconds to skip it. Like, yeah. You gotta find the ones with no ads because that's just bullshit. But yeah, otherwise those are really good because I have a hard time like sitting for too long in meditation, like just by myself. Like I can do maybe like 20 minutes max, but like when I listen to the guided meditations, I could sit for an hour and like just let them take me on a journey.
How do you feel afterwards? Like after 1 hour of like not like being on your phone or any technology, like how do you feel after like one whole like session of meditation?
I just feel like so present. Like
Mm.
I'm really like alive and I'm really like here and my whole body is like working, like every cell in my body is like here working to like keep me alive and I'm breathing and like I always have this moment. Like there is nothing else like but this exact moment. And I've been reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
Tolle.
So
That's
good.
my man to
So
know.
good. Yeah. Like this, like the Power of Now with the Artist's Way, with the meditation. I like, oh my God, like 2 weeks ago, I was maybe meditating for like 20 minutes a day. Now it's like at 2 hours a day, which is crazy. If somebody told me that I would be meditating for 2 hours a day, like a month ago, I'd be like, me? Like, no way. Like, so yeah.
That's a powerful book combo. That's a very powerful book combo. If you add you a little Deepak Chopra, you gonna really go crazy.
I was thinking about it. We'll have to see. I'm like trying to learn astrology too and tarot, so it's just a lot.
Yeah.
But I love it. Like I just feel so connected to things that I like. I just feel so connected to myself and so like intentional with my time and with what I put my energy into, because it's like giving me energy back. Like it's not just taking it, like it's giving me energy back to where I can like do more stuff. Like it's not just draining me.
How do we discipline ourselves to do the things that make us feel good?
I feel like at that point, it's just like, for me at least, you just gotta like, if you're looking at it like it's discipline and like you're associating it with like work and oh, like I don't want to do this, like then you're just like setting yourself up to not enjoy it. Like I think like if you switch your perspective, like I get to do this thing that I really love, like I have the time to do it, like I like get to do it instead of like I have to do it.
Ooh.
I think that like really helps, like just generating like excitement and like genuine like interest in doing it. And like at that point, you don't even have to try. You just do it and have a good time.
Yeah,
like,
you just sign up for it. You're like, you're with a sign up sheet.
Yeah.
Put me on. Put me on. Oh, that power of now is working on you.
Yeah.
That just changed my life.
Facts. I was just thinking about the aftermath and getting excited for that. I'm reading this book too. It's about the power of willpower. So I forget something about willpower. But anyway, long story short, it's the guy was saying that sometimes you have to, something good for you. He was talking about a woman who she would get home and she would drink every night, even though she knew she wanted to break that habit and go do yoga right after work. She would still find herself just driving home to drink, even though she knew she wanted to do the yoga. So the one time, right after her yoga session, she recorded herself and how good she felt and how amazing she felt, like how stressless she felt from going to the yoga session. So anytime she felt that like, okay, I'm about to go get a drink instead, she played the recording and reminded herself of how great it was and how much benefit it brought her, and it reminded her. So if you can't visualize it, purposely do that, or write yourself of how you feel in that moment after you do it. And that way you can go back to that, like, okay, I know that my future self is going to thank me for this. I usually just say that to myself, like my future self thanks you for this. So, like when I'm doing yoga, even though if I don't feel like it, I'm like, thank you for getting on the mat, Maikisha, your future self thanks you. And then I'll just start the process because it kind of just keeps me in the zone of like, I'm already proud of myself for doing this. So now I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
It's like little habits to set yourself up for success.
Yes. And they work. It's so true.
So as y'all were talking about that, I kind of was reading week 1 a little bit. And literally she says, because like the defensive hospitality, she gets back, hostility, not hospitality. She gets back whenever she's talking to her students about like, you have to be a bad artist for your good one. Like you just got to get through your roughs. And so they're like, but do you know how old I will be by the time I learn to really play the piano, act, paint, write a decent play? And then she says, yes, the same age you will be if you don't.
Woo! Woo!
Yeah, I really love that too.
Know how to do it at that age or not?
Or nah. Exactly. Because I do feel like everything we do is gonna be a little uncomfortable. You feel like when we learn something new, it's gonna be uncomfortable. And this is me talking to me right now because I took a dance class I was telling y'all 2 weeks ago, and it was so bad and I was very uncomfortable. But I'd rather be that uncomfortable than uncomfortable thinking like, damn, I should have went and did that. Look at you, like not even taking yourself seriously enough to commit to yourself. Like it's 2 levels of uncomfortable. It's the uncomfortable like I'm gonna go get it and be uncomfortable along the way, or it's the uncomfortable like I'm gonna stay complacent and docile even though I don't like this situation, so I'm gonna just be this type of uncomfortable. I feel like one uncomfortable gets you to fake uncomfortable, and one uncomfortable just puts you like keeps you uncomfortable. So
yeah, if you don't leave your comfort zone, like it's gonna turn into an uncomfort zone.
Right.
Absolutely. And you think everything you started new every time. When you first took steps, it was uncomfortable. When you rode a bike, it was uncomfortable. When you called, for me, I remember being uncomfortable having to like call and make my first doctor's appointment. My mom was like, you grown enough to make your own appointment. I'm like, damn, like this is my teacher, say my own appointment. I was uncomfortable doing that. Now it's like, that ain't, so it's like everything.
Now it's like, maybe I pick up this fucking fall.
Right. But you gotta start somewhere, right? Everybody is a master. They started as a beginner. So it's like reminding yourself that you starting is what it's all about. For me, I've just really been on this kick of just embracing the journey. Even with this this, like, and having these and meeting up, it's like so much. I'm looking forward to every Tuesday because it's like the growth and being able to have these discussions. It's the journey of this, like to see where we're going to be in 12, the next couple of weeks where we started at. It's like, this is so exciting. I just love being, the journey is what it's all about. It's like this. It don't matter, when we're gonna get there, it's gonna be amazing. But this is the great part that we need to savor in them, because the moments that we have right now is all we have.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that you guys show up every time. Like whether we read or not, you still about to get put onto all the quotables. Like you still about to still get your life or whatever. And I love that so much. I'm so grateful for you guys. I say this every time, but I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude. Like if gratitude was right here, I'm over here with it. I'm up there with it. So I'm very, very full, very grateful. Does anybody have anything they want to add before I get into the last little tidbit? Because this last tidbit I think is so important.
Is the last tidbit the reading break or whatever?
No, so the reading break, I understood that. We just need to play a little bit more. But I think in order for us to play a little bit more, when she talks about buried dreams and exercise, like how we bury our dreams and stuff like that. And then she goes to say, do a little digging, be fast, and just like be random with it. This is an exercise in spontaneity. So be sure to write your answers out very, very quickly. Like just do it super, super quickly. So can we do it in the chat, or we could do it like you can unmute yourself? But I just want us to just name one thing. And the first thing that I want us to name is just name a hobby that just sounds fun to you. It just sounds fun. You like, yo, that sound lit. I'm gonna say trapeze.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Trapeze look like fun, right? You be like, them bitches be like this. They be like, ooh,
wait, what's that?
They catch
the next one with like the silk ropes.
That's what I was thinking, Alvina, the yoga, right?
Aerial yoga.
That's aerial yoga.
I think that's a good one too.
Oh, somebody said photography. Somebody said pole dancing. Oh, pole dancing is so sexy.
Aerial yoga. I'm gonna look that up.
I've always wanted to do gymnastics.
I love gymnastics when I was little. I would love to get that.
In order to do gymnastics, you gotta be a brave motherfucker. You gotta know.
Do it.
You gotta know the second I flip over, I'ma land.
I'm a land.
You know how gangster you gotta be to know that, the second I flip my neck over, I'm a land. You gotta be a different type of gangster. Like, somebody said they did cheerleading. Yeah, like,
me too.
Yeah, I did cheerleading and gymnastics, and they have adult classes. Please, you will feel free. I don't know where you live. I know where I live. I'm in like the DC area. So
I'm in Atlanta.
But
I'm gonna have to look it up though. I'm gonna look it up because
adult classes, and from teaching you how to tumble to do a cartway. So check it out.
I missed it. Okay.
Oh, Teresa said race car driving.
That sounds fun.
I put that too. Yes.
Ice skating.
Yes. Okay. So the next one, right? So name one thing. Okay, so it says 5 classes that sound fun, but we're not gonna do a class because we just named that. So what's one thing that you personally would never do, but you like, yo, that shit sound like fun? Mine is never. Oh, skydiving, yeah!
I want to go
bungee jumping.
I think somebody will have to do it. Bungee jumping, yeah, I'm not doing that.
That shit looks so scary. And the ride at the beach where you're in that ball and it shoots you all the way up. I want to do that so bad. I'm scared.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh, that shit looks lit.
Oh, somebody said eat a rare done steak. That's a fact. Every time I see people eat a rare steak, I'm like, that ass?
Who did? I be like, where's Spin Factor at?
Yeah, you gotta pay me to eat a red steak.
I'm trying to think
what you couldn't pay me. So
actually, you couldn't, right? You're right. Actually, you couldn't pay me. That's a fact.
Oh yeah, that would be so good.
Quick funny story. I'm sorry. What'd you guys say?
Oh, I said pro wrestling. Like that looked fun, but I would.
I would do like my answer would be like that swimming with sharks when you're in that like cage thing.
Have you not seen no movies?
That seems kind of cool though. I don't know.
It's cool, but I would never do it.
I don't know. I got you thinking. You got me thinking about it. I'm gonna see. I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you guys a really quick story. I was like this is like 2 or 3 years ago. I like quit my job and I saved up a lot of money and I just went traveling for like 4 months straight in South America by myself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I really wanted to learn Spanish, which I'm still learning. I'm like beginner advanced. I'm like beginner intermediate. But yeah, so I wanted to learn Spanish. I was like, you know what? And I just had a house fire, so I like lost everything, which was pretty devastating. And I didn't have much shit to pack. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go to South America for a few months. So I went for 4 months, and I want to say within the end of month one, I went to this. I was in Ecuador, and I went to this this city called Baños, and I did bungee jumping in Baños, and it's like a big thing. Like everyone does it. When you go to Baños, you got to go to the end of the world, and then you also got to go bungee jumping. So I was like, you know what? I'm from Brooklyn. I could do bungee jumping. It's not a big deal. Whatever. Bungee jump me, and I pull up, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, like this is so safe. And it was along a river that extended from Ecuador all the way down to Peru. So it went from Ecuador to Peru to Chile to Argentina. Like it went all down throughout South America. So I was like, oh, I'm definitely gonna do it. You about to put me above the river that goes through everything? Give me that. So they start strapping me up. Everything is lit, and I'm feeling still pumped. I'm like, I'm from Brooklyn. Yeah, you can't take this away from me. And all of a sudden, a whole crowd start forming while they watching me set up. Like the locals start piling up. All the locals come together. They all starting to crowd the situation and shit like that. And I'm like, yo, why everybody here? Why everybody looking? I was like, do niggas not do this? Like, why they all staring, looking at me to hope I survive? Like, that's the energy they was giving me. I'm like, wait. I'm talking to them in English. I'm like, wait. I don't even know what wait is in Spanish at the time. I'm like, wait, why is everybody here like watching? You know, they're like, oh, like this is what the local people do. They watch the Americans come and do this, blah, blah. I'm like, wait, what? Like at this time, I'm already strapped up though. And at this time, we already went through the process of how he's gonna push me off. Like we went through it several times. So I was like, damn, I'm already up here. I gotta do it. So he goes to push me a little bit. And then I was just like, no, wait, fuck out of here, wait. And the whole crowd was like, and I was like, why did they scream her? Like it was so insane. And he pushed me, right? While I was talking shit, he pushed me because he just knew my energy. He was like, she from Brooklyn, push her. So it's so funny. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I'm gonna retweet this video because it's so funny. Push me, and while he pushed me and I bungee jumped down, it was so exhilarating. And then when you bungee jump, it goes like a thing, and then you bounce up and down or whatever. The whole crowd started clapping, and I felt some type of way, low key. I was like,
they're like, it worked this time, yay!
Yes.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
She survived.
Right.
I was like, wait, y'all tried to G me. Mind you, the shit was only $25. And I should have knew right then and there. Like, should you be bungee jumping for $25? So
it was free and he borrowed the equipment and charged you $25.
Mad people walked up to me afterwards. Mad people walked up to me afterwards, like, excuse me, do you want your picture? We recorded a video for you. You want the video?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And they was like, it's $5 for the video. I'm like, give me the video. I was like, y'all trying to get me, but give me the video. So that's my little quick story about bungee jumping, guys. That's my quick story. Yes. Okay, so last two. The last one is list one skill that you think will be fun to have.
I've always wanted to learn ASL, like American Sign Language.
Oh, that shit look lit.
I wrote that down too.
That is so dope. Learning ASL is so dope. I kind of wanted to learn ASL after that Birdcage movie. What was that called again? Bird Box.
Bird Box. Oh, Bird Box.
I was like, oh wow, I never knew that the shit on elevators, those little dots on the elevators was like a language.
Braille, yeah. Braille.
Yeah. Oh, someone said MMA. Someone said playing the guitar, skateboarding. Skateboarding looks so gangster. I'd be like, how you know you not gonna lose your ankle?
You don't.
You don't, right?
My son skate.
Oh my, you muted yourself. Oh, you muted. I don't think she knows she muted. Girl, you muted.
I froze.
Oh yeah. I think yeah. What you say?
I think I froze. No, I just said you reinforce my fear. My son skateboards and he makes me nervous every time he thinks I'm being dramatic. But I'm like, see, I feel like he might lose a damn ankle. It makes me nervous. He's clumsy like me. So I'm like clumsy and skateboarding. Yeah. Is that a good mesh? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. It's like watching somebody you love box. It's like, no.
Right. Yeah. It's like
okay.
Football, that shit's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. That shit is dangerous. Okay, and the last thing is list one silly thing that you would love to just try once. Like something like, I just want to try this once.
I'm gonna do body paint. I'm gonna get my body painted, like body paint. Just somebody paint all over me. That'd be cool.
Oh my God, Olivia said a rage room. That sounds so dope.
Ooh, a lingerie.
What's a rage room?
You know,
so like when I don't know. I'm assuming that you go and break shit up, right? Like
yeah, it's like you just break glass. Like they give you this big ass hammer, and you just like go in a room and you just break glass. You break different woods. You just go crazy.
I would be down for that.
Yeah, that's probably good for a lot of people. Anger management, or even just in general, get that shit out. You gotta get it out somehow. So you can't punch them in the face. Go to the rage room. You need one of those in every city.
Yeah.
And I would do like paintball shooting.
Yeah.
Oh, paintball is cool. Paintball kind of hurts though.
I know. I've heard that too. You get bruises.
I did. I had bruises. But maybe I'm just like, I feel like I'm a punk. I'm little. I don't know. I was nervous. I was scared. They were bruising the shit out of me though. They're like little pellets and they break. You know, so
do they hurt though? Because I feel like hurt.
I was just being dramatic.
You get some bruises.
Kind of just like stings a little, but it's not too. I mean, but it's I was being dramatic. I think.
Yeah.
I'm dramatic too.
I really want to learn how to do a cartwheel without no hands. I think that's so impressive.
Ooh.
Like that
is without hands. I just heard that. Like that aerial cartwheel. That is really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I used to be able to do that when I was little.
Yeah. Yes. So
you ever thought that you never did something and then find a picture of you doing it?
Oh, like what?
That happened to you?
So, I remember going to school because so I live in New York, but I'm on Long Island, and there's mad like horse ranches, like people who have horses. So I remember going to school and talking to these girls and being like, okay, I've never been on a horse before. I don't know how to ride a horse. That's never been anything I've done before. I go in my bookshelf and I'll go through my books because I'm, like I'm cleansing out or whatever. And I'm looking and I'm like, oh, here's me on a horse in a full getup with my uncle pulling the horse. When did I ever go on a horse? And then I go through these baskets underneath my desk and there's a whole medal for me riding a horse. And I'm like, when did I ever do this? And I'm thinking to myself, like, how is this a whole memory I had of me doing something I've always wanted to do? But apparently I did it.
You was probably nasty at it too. What if you was one of them kids that was like, who on one side, you knew how to put your both legs on one side and then you put the legs on the middle and then,
Right. What if I was doing alley-oops on a horse? Like, I was pretty sure. And I never knew. So I'm like, now I'm thinking about it, like, now I want to go back. I want to horse ride. And it's crazy to even say to myself, I want to go back to horse riding, going back to something I never even knew I was doing in the first place. So like, imagine all these things that we were doing back in the day that we just named, like, I want to do this, I want to do that. And we probably were already doing it and don't even remember.
Absolutely.
Maybe when you go do it again, you'll get the memory back. So it'll remind you of it.
Get a flash. I would love that. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm gonna try.
How it work in the movies.
Right.
In the movies, you get it back. It's just gonna zoo. You gonna get it back. Yeah.
Because it's right over there on my bookshelf. It was really cool too.
Okay. Yeah, so a few things that we can just do this week. It says like a brief list of things that we can do when we're not reading. It's like listening to music, washing our pets. That should say paying bills, but come on. Come on, that's not creative. It says write old friends, repot some plants. I need to repot a few plants. It says fix your bike, rewire, like fix things around the house, paint the bedroom, go dancing, and just sort out your bookshelves or whatever, meditate and work out. So I'm excited to see, like, there's a few nice ideas in there for us to like play with and have fun with. I'm excited to see what we come up with. So we just covered week 4, which is the recovering a sense of integrity. And then week 5 is recovering a sense of possibility. And I love that. Like, I just peeked, and she starts off with limits. We're not even gonna do that, because you already know how she's set up, so we just gonna just be patient with that. But yes, guys, I'm so excited for this. Thank you so much for joining me. If you guys have any last words or anything like that, I have a few minutes. I'm down to share. If you do have to leave, I totally understand, but I just want to say that this was just a great wrap up of what week 4 looked like. Week 4 looks like us getting intentional with our morning pages, us getting intentional with our time, being very, very specific with things, no longer saying I'm okay, but saying I'm pleasant, I'm not okay, knowing when to say what, knowing when things feel out of alignment, knowing when certain friends and situations and conversations just don't fit anymore, knowing when to be specific, knowing when not to be vague, when to be very specific with the things we want, knowing when to surrender, when to walk away, just knowing when it's time for us to step into who we want to become, knowing what it looks like to be intentional with free time, and just knowing what it looks like to be self-disciplined. So that is going to be the wrap up for this conversation. If you guys have anything you want to add before we leave, I would love that. What's goody? And what are we looking forward to next week?
I'm looking forward to just that the chapter is called the ability to have possibility, the ability just to bring my vision board to life, be a bad bitch. If I want to go out to the grocery store in jeans and high heels, bitch, I'm gonna go do that. If I want to go on a plane and drink out of a coconut, I'm gonna go do that. Okay. So it's like, instead of watching everybody else go do it and be like, oh man, I wish. Well, no, now it's my turn. So it's going to be my turn to shine because I deserve it. I figured out, I released what I wasn't and what I was, figured out who I am, meeting her and showing up as it.
I love that. I love that. I want to say, all right, I'm going to make this super, super short and quick. But when I moved out my parents' house, my first time I moved out, I ended up rooming with a roommate, and I was really nervous about doing that. But she's one of my best friends today, and she ended up being a spiritual stylist. So she helps people dress in alignment with who they want to be, and like tackling like who you are, how do you want to feel, and things like that. And I just had a house fire, so I was just like, I have no clothes, I don't even know what I want to look like, I have no idea what's going on. And she just made me so intentional with my style and how to show up. So she got me feeling like, if I want to wear a $200 skirt to the store, if I want to wear heels to the store, you go do that shit and always show up how you want to feel all the time. So I highly recommend, like, even if it's walking to the car shit, low key you're gonna change in the car, from the heels to the flats, from the heels to you got the flats right there in the passenger seat. But it's just doing it because we gonna have the audacity. If there's one thing we're gonna have the audacity to just show up and show the fuck out. So I'm just saying, I can't call it, but just show up. Yes. Oh, drop her website. Oh, I got you guys. She's so dope. I'm gonna drop her website. Also, too, I did the math, and on March 30th, I don't know what week it's gonna be exactly, but we'll still be doing this. But March 30th is like my birthday week, and I'm turning.
Oh my God, mine's the 31st.
We Aries.
Mine's the 25th.
We Aries. Gang. I'm about to lift my top up. Like, no, we're Aries. Yay. So It's gonna be my 30th birthday, which is kind of big. My birthday is April 2nd, but that week is my 30th birthday. I'm going to be away. I'm gonna be in Costa Rica, but I'm definitely doing the session. Ain't nothing gonna stop these sessions. You feel me?
No, that's right.
You feel me? You feel me? And we gonna have a little toast in the beginning, you know, like, and then it's just gonna be a vibe. I'm so excited to like see like the island stuff, all that, and just like
Honey, we gonna need a view. We're gonna need a view.
Okay. He said it's kind of a big deal. 30 is a big deal, okay? Like my 30th birthday was my best. Like, girl, you better do it.
I'm excited. I really feel like 30s is gonna be my 20s, but with mad money.
Yeah, and wisdom. You much more wise. That's it. I'm telling you.
I know what's what, and I know who's who for sure. Like I know what's going on. I'm very, very like more self-aware than I ever was at 21. At 21, I was still like, what do I like? Who am I? And now I still feel like that a little bit, but I'm more defined. So I hope you guys feel that way too.
Hell yeah.
You know, and 20s was crazy.
Tanisha, definitely not. I agree.
Yeah, 20s was cool. 20s was cool, but I just feel like 30s is where the money resides. You feel me? And I feel like everything I wanted to do in my 20s, I can afford it now, and I'm just a lot more intentional. So things are just the right things are flowing, the right blessings are flowing in my life. So,
yes.
You turned 32, right, Tanisha?
Yeah.
When?
I like September.
Okay, you a Virgo?
I got some time. No, I am
still in your 20s. You're talking like you're already 30. You're still in your 20s, girl.
I know.
A couple months you got left. Embrace it, because once it's gone, it's gone now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my golden year. So my birthday is September 29th. This is my 29th year, and it started off with a bang for sure.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh, aging is a blessing. Know that. Not everybody makes it. So every year is a blessing. Every extra year you get it's a blessing to be here.
I don't know if it's just me, but I even feel like the lighting in your space changed. It's just
I don't know.
You're glowing.
I don't know. I look like I'm looking more like my mom's white side right now. If that's what you're saying.
No, I promise you glowing. Are you going? We're not in the cabinet this week. I can tell you put us on the counter. But
that's right. That might be what it is. I had you in the cave before, so.
Yes, guys. Thank you so much. I'm gonna wrap up. Play me a little song. We're gonna dance a little bit before we leave. But I need
a group chat, pretty please.
Oh yeah, you need a link to the groupie. Like the group chat is a flag. Can we talk about that?
No, for real. I be loving y'all because even sometimes I don't respond right away, but then I'll go back and read, and y'all be dropping so much. I be literally reading the group chat and like writing stuff down out the group chat because y'all be dropping dimes and knowledge. I'm like, and just the support in general. I never met a group of women who are just naturally supportive the way these women are. So
yeah, no, it's really amazing. And to be fair, it's some whatchamacallit in there too. It's some men in there. I think I've seen someone like
Eddie. Is there?
Yeah, my videographer is in there.
Oh, I'll be like, all right, queens. I didn't know there was a man in there. My bad. I guess I should have realized that, but I don't know. Yeah, I just assumed.
Yeah, this is what we're gonna do. I was in a Jasmine Sullivan bag earlier today, so this is how we ended with it. Thank you so much. Oh, I got the bars keep flowing. Got the cars keep going. Ha, ha, hey, hey.
Come through.